Greetings, YouTube! The Doctor is in. Dr. Urias Papers here, coming at you with another commentary on Dungeons & Dragons. And the next spell on our list to review is Spellfire Storm from Forgotten Realms, Heroes of Faerun. We're getting close to being done with all these spells. So we got a few that we're going to go through in the Eberron book. But I just wanted to talk about the spell. This spell is a banger of a spell. We've got to say that. It is an absolute banger. And we're going to go over all this. We're going to talk about it. We're going to give it a grade. We are going to talk about some of the other 4th level spells this compares to as far as ranged area of effect spells that have durations. And we're going to talk about some of the subclasses that you can use with this spell. So lots to go over, lots to talk about. Don't go anywhere and stay tuned. All right, before we begin, don't forget to hit that subscribe button if you like this video. Hit the like button. If you have any questions or comments, please leave a question or a comment. Don't forget to hit that notification bell, and don't forget to share this video. All right, Spellfire Storm is a 4th level spell that has a casting time of 1 action. It is a range of 60 feet with a 20-foot radius aura or cylinder, and a verbal and somatic component. It is concentration lasts for a minute. Evocation. It is usable. Got to go all the way down here. It is usable by sorcerers and wizards. Now we're gonna talk a little bit about bards because bards can pick this up too because it is a wizard spell. So you can conjure a pillar of spellfire, which is this blue fire that is associated with the spell plague in the Forgotten Realms. And if you're not familiar with that, then you can go and search that on Google. So it's 20-foot tall. It's a 20-foot radius with a 20-foot high cylinder. So if there are creatures that are flying around 20 feet or less in the air, it will hit them. And it is centered on a point within range, which is range of 60 feet. The area of the cylinder is bright light. So it is a bright light 4th level spell, meaning that if it hits anything less than 4th level that's darkness, that will be gone. Each creature in it, when it appears, has to make a Constitution saving throw, or they take 4d10 radiant damage on a failed save, which is going to be 22 points of damage. Half as much, so 11 points on a successful one. A creature also makes this save when it enters the area for the first time on a turn or ends its turn there. So if it gets pushed in, it's got to do the save again. If it ends its turn in there because it's incapacitated or it's grappled or its move is 0 for some reason, then it has to make that save again. It only makes a save once a turn, not a round, a turn. Big difference between those. In addition, whenever a creature in the cylinder, so this is the banger part here. Here is the banger. There's a couple of them, and this is one of them. In addition, whenever a creature in the cylinder casts a spell, that creature makes a Constitution saving throw. On a failed save, the spell dissipates with no effect, as if it were countered or dispelled, and the action, bonus action, or reaction used to cast it is wasted. So you could have a reaction ready, a held action ready to push something into the Spellfire Storm when it starts to cast a spell. It's in, you go before it does, it goes to start saying those magic words, and blammo, you push it in, and it's got to make a save, and it fails that save, that action is gone. If that spell was cast with a spell slot, the slot isn't expended. That is something new to 2024 rules that did not exist in 5e. In 5e, these, counterspell and all these spells would have just nuked the spell, and the slot would have been gone. Now you're just wasting your action, or bonus action or reaction, whatever, but that action will be gone. So they're going to start casting the spell, the action will be gone, and it'll be done. When you cast this spell, you can designate creatures to be unaffected by it. That's the other banger part of this spell. So it's an evocation spell, but you don't need to be an evocation wizard to get around hurting or not hurting your allies. So it's School of Evocation. You just get it automatically. So, and this thing lasts for a minute. Now, you can cast this spell as a circle spell. I don't know why they broke this up for some reason. So they have casting as a circle spell. This part down here is casting as a circle spell. And then in between, they have using a higher level spell slot. So you can upcast this spell. Every slot you use above 4 does another d10 of damage. And just remember, that's damage every round or multiple times in a round. So that makes it worth it. That 5.5 points of damage may not be 5.5 points of damage. It may be 11 more points of damage every single round. Now, we can cast this spell as a circle spell, and it's got one of these special descriptions of the circle spells themselves. So in addition to the spell's usual components, you must provide a special component, which is a blue star sapphire worth 25,000 gold pieces, which the spell consumes. So you will not be doing this very often whatsoever at all. However, the spell's range increases to 1 mile, and it no longer requires concentration. When the spell is cast, each secondary caster must expend a 3rd level spell slot, otherwise the spell fails. So, this part, with the range to 1 mile and the no concentration, has a cost to it. Now, this says the number of secondary casters determines the spell's area of effect and duration as shown in the table below. The spell ends early if any caster who participated in the casting contributes to another casting of a spell spark. So my question is, if you decide to cast this as a circle spell, but not this special description here, but one of the other descriptions, does this stuff take effect? Maybe, maybe not. Talk to your DM. That might be a thing. But if I got 2 spellcasters, it's a 40-foot radius with a 40-foot high cylinder that lasts for an hour now. I'm going to guess that it probably does tie in or connect to this special description, because no one's going to be concentrating on a spell for an hour to 24 hours. But we got 4 casters, 60-foot radius, 60-foot high cylinder, 8 hours, 7 or more, 100-foot radius, 100-foot cylinder with 24 hours. So lay that down on a castle and see what happens. Everybody's going to get microwaved inside the castle. That is pretty nasty, and there won't be anybody casting any spells to get rid of it. Because whenever they try and cast a spell, they are going to have to make this Constitution saving throw. All right, what is the grade we are going to give this spell? I really like this spell because it does damage. It has the potential of doing damage multiple times around. It can affect things that probably could be flying at a low altitude. And it's going to nuke spells, and it can nuke darkness. So we're giving this spell an A. This is one out of the 4th level spells. I always felt that 4th level spells were missing some kind of big damage spells. This isn't like a super damage spell, but it is one that does very consistent damage, that does add up over time, and it has a lot of extra banger effects, like getting rid of the darkness, the potential for doing damage multiple times around, and the nuking of spells being cast in it. And I do like the flavor of the circle spell, even though it is very, very expensive. So A is what we're giving this spell. Now, let's compare this to some other 4th level spells. I have brought up a list of all of the 4th level sorcerer and wizard spells. And there are 4 spells in particular that I do want to look at. The first one is Ice Storm. So this is a range of 300 feet, a 20-foot radius. It's 40 foot high, so it is higher. It's instantaneous. So each creature, it takes 2d10 bludgeoning and 46 cold. It does a little bit more damage, not very much, but it's only 1 time. And then it's difficult terrain until the end of your next turn. So Ice Storm never really impressed me very much in any edition of Dungeons & Dragons. All right, the next spell that I want to talk about is Sickening Radiance. This is another banger of a spell. We always love this spell. It is a 120-foot range with a 30-foot radius, so it's not a It's not a cylinder, but it lasts for 10 minutes. It's concentration. 4d10 radiant damage, and everything inside suffers 1 level of exhaustion on that failed save, which is nasty. The light makes it impossible for a creature to benefit from invisibility. Also nasty. And then the light and the levels of exhaustion go away when the spell ends. But if something goes to a certain level of exhaustion, it's dead. So, again, another nasty spell. Between this one and Spellfire Storm, it depends on what you want to do. This one does a little bit more kind of damage with the exhaustion. But if you're trying to get rid of some spellcasters, Spellfire Storm is probably a little bit better. The next one I want to look at is Vitriolic Sphere, which is on the next page here. And here it is right here. It's kind of like a fireball, 150-foot range, 20-foot radius. It does 10d4 acid damage and another 5d4 acid damage at the end of the next turn if you fail that dex save. And then it's 2d4 extra for every slot above 4, which is 5 points. It's just okay. This is kind of it's supposed to be a step up from Fireball. It's not. Between this and Spellfire Storm, I'm definitely going to be taking Spellfire Storm. And then finally, Watery Sphere. Again, this one doesn't really do a lot of damage. It will restrain, and it depends on what you want to do. This one will restrain. It does have a 90-foot radius and a 90-foot range and a 5-foot radius. So it depends on, again, what you want to do with this. So out of these, I still think that Spellfire Storm is the best one. Now, so because this is usable by sorcerers and wizards, which kinds of sorcerers do I think are going to be good with this? Well, obviously Clockwork Sorcery, because the spell list is just so awesome for this, especially with Wall of Force and Summon Construct and Dispel Magic. Plus, you got the Restore Balance and the Bastion of Law. So all that stuff is great. The other one that I like a lot for this is the Wild Magic Sorcery, just because we've got the Bend Luck, where we can spend sorcery points and we can subtract from somebody's saving throw, which could be important if you want to stop them from casting that spell. So you push them in, they're in it, they try to cast a spell inside the Spellfire Storm, and you hit them with a Bent Luck. So for wizards, I like the Order of Scribes, and I like the Diviner Wizard. Now, the School of Divination didn't really change between the Legacy version and the new version. Portent obviously goes along with this. I like Order of Scribes because you got the Awakened Spellbook and the Manifest Mind, and you could cast this spell at a distance with the floating book that you have. And of course, because bards can use this spell, and the bard can use this spell with the magical secrets that they get at 10th level. So they can cast any bard, cleric, druid, or wizard spell. So you could take this spell, and nothing against that. But I would like to have the College of Eloquence with the Unfettering Words to give a penalty to someone's saving throw. So all in all, this is a great spell. We're giving it an A, of course. And I do like its effects. I think it's got some banger effects. So that is what I have for everybody today. I appreciate everybody tuning in, and I will catch everybody later.